it's Doris with Aldi Books. Happy Tag Tuesday. If I continue with this momentum, I may get caught up on all my tags by the end of the summer, which would feel like quite the accomplishment. Today I'm doing Shawn's new tag, Shawn the Book Maniac. This is the alphabet soup tag. This is the first iteration. We're dealing with the letter A today. He's eventually going to do the whole alphabet in a randomized manner, a la alphabet soup. But today we're with A. So jumping right in, prompt number 1 is author. So a book where the author's first or last name begins with the letter A. I'm going with Salt Houses by Hala Alian. And this one I read last year, but when I picked it up, it really reminded me of a book that is popular this year, A Place for Us. So this one also is set initially in a wedding and told in flashbacks. This one has the same themes of family and immigrants and fitting in and all of that. There's some different themes as well. This one has political undercurrents or political in your face. There's a war that causes a diaspora of this family. But yes, really good book. Number 2 is A is for articles. So the last book that you read that has the article A. So you know A or A. And that one, coincidentally, is Sunny Was a Friend of Mine by Tom Jones that I just recently finished reading with Shawn. So there you go, Shawn. Perfect. Number 3, a book that made you angry. And I don't even know why this book is still on my bookshelves, other than the fact that I think I kept it so that I could have it for that rant book in tags like this. So, Bastard Out of Carolina. This has some really gorgeous writing. The stories and characterization, I've kind of blocked it from my memory, but I just didn't like the stereotypical Southern woman that lets her child be abused by her baby daddy. I really hated this book, and it is much beloved. And I think what makes me really angry is that I love Southern lit, and I had such high hopes for this book. So I think I'm really angry that I was let down by it because I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. Number 4, awesome. Now, it was an awesome book that you read recently, in the recent years. So not just like recently, but recent years. So originally I had grabbed just a book that I'd read this month, like the most awesome one that I've read this month. However, I realized I needed that for a prompt later on. And that one is very much a Shawn book, as you shall see. So I decided to replace it with another awesome Shawn book. Now, I don't think Shawn's read this one, but it reminds me of Shawn. So I'm going to go with Hitching Rides with Buddha by Will Ferguson. And this reminds me of Shawn because it's an ESL teacher living in Japan. This is kind of a memoir, and it's told very anecdotal format, and I just found it delightful as he's literally hitching a ride from the southern tip of Japan to the northern tip of Japan, and just telling stories of the people he meets along the way. And there's a story of an elderly gentleman that he met and actually spent the night with this man and his wife on his journey. And the elderly gentleman was a soldier for the Japanese during World War II. And I don't know, it was beautifully written, that little anecdote. But there's lots of good stuff, funny stuff, lots of good stuff in this book. And I just think it was quirky and not one that I've really ever seen on BookTube. So I enjoyed this and thought it was awesome. Number 5, or the triple A, as I say. A book that has 3 A's in the title. And for that one, I'm going with In the Land of Armadillos by Helen Mariles Shankman. And this is a World War II novel. I'm not sure. It's one of those almost short stories, interconnected short stories. So this one, I know sometimes people say they get tired of reading World War II literature, and I can totally understand that. I thought this was a fresh take because it does deal with the Holocaust, but a lot of the stories are from the perspective of a German soldier, a higher up in a camp in Poland, and just kind of humanizes him, but still kind of tells how normal, nice people end up doing horrific things. I just found it a really interesting perspective. And this book has a different title, and the newer edition has birds on the cover. And I don't remember the other title, unfortunately. But anyway, you can probably find it by looking up the author's last name there. And then number 6 is An Annoying Character. I don't have this book, but I just finished it. We Cast a Shadow by Ruffin, Carlos Ruffin. Maurice Carlos Ruffin. The main character in this book is so very unlikable. So very. Number 7, Ambivalence, a book you're still not sure about. So I could also have used We Cast a Shadow for that prompt. Jacqueline, I believe, actually did. She just posted her video this morning. But I'm going to go with a different book. So I'm going to go with The Vegetarian by Han Kang. I didn't really enjoy reading this book. I thought the writing was beautiful, but I just wasn't my kind of book. However, there's a lot of hype about this. It's, very renowned and respected. It won the Man Booker International. It's one that made me ponder afterward, which is the same with We Cast a Shadow, one that you don't 100% like, but you're still thinking about it long after the story is over. I read Human Acts first and loved this book so much. I think this book is gorgeous, brilliant. So that makes me, those two things make me really still think about The Vegetarian and maybe rereading it and liking it a little more. One day. Number 8, Anticipation, a book that you are looking forward to. So that would be one that I just received in the mail today. If You Want to Make God Laugh by Bianca Marai. I read her If You Don't Know the Words last year and absolutely loved it. I've loaned it out to several friends and siblings who have also loved it. So as soon as I finished reading that, I knew this one was coming along and have been anticipating it ever since. So I'm very excited to dive into this one. The next one is Number 9, actually, a book that you didn't expect to like. And this has happened twice now with the BookTube Prize and judging it. A book that I like wondered about, but thematically there weren't things that I was interested in typically, so I may not have ever gotten to it if I didn't do the BookTube Prize that round. So I can't talk about one of them, but I can talk about this one right now. A Ladder to the Sky by John Boyne. The structure of this book was just so sharp, and the story so sharp. This was a really, John Boyne is very skilled at his craft. He is, in this book, definitely 100% very skillful. Number 10, Affected. This one is pretentious, so could be characters, author, or something else. But anyway, I'm going with pretentious characters. And for this one, I'm going to go with Pride and Prejudice. I greatly enjoyed the movie and really enjoyed the book on the first read through. I'm going to have to read all of the Austens again to decide which is my favorite, which are my favorites, because, you know, but this one, I love the characterizations of the sister. They're kind of each stereotyped, like very, very stereotyped, so you can tell them apart. Excuse me. But I just think that really works for her storytelling. And in this one, it's the, I forget their names. I know that's scandalous for me to say, but the mother and the sister that acts like the mother, you know, the silly, you know, ones that are absorbed with appearances and all that jazz. They're so pretentious, but in a good, shallow kind of way. I don't know. I like them. Number 11. How's it going, eh? So this is a book by a Canadian author. So, of course, Women Talking by Miriam Taves. This has been making the rounds this year, and I finally finished it this month, and well deserved. This is gorgeously written, an important read based on a true story that is just horrible. But yeah, good book, Shawn. Thanks for championing it to all of us, and I'm so glad I finally picked it up. And number 12, Anticlimactic, a book that fizzled in the end. And for that, I'm going with Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, another book that I just finished recently. Nice to end with an A title. Yeah, I don't read a lot of science fiction, and when I do, I like the biology focused stuff, which this is. So I was really expecting to love this. I'm kind of thankful that I only ever got the first in the series. There's 3, because while I found the world building, the setup, the concept extremely interesting, I felt like he just kept talking about the same thing. Luckily it's short, but he just kept talking about and circling around the same thing over and over and over again. So while it started out with this really interesting concept, it just was a downward spiral to me. I found it both interesting and boring. So I really don't feel like I'm gonna continue with the series, but yeah, there you go. Number 12 is All the Booktubers. So I am just going to tag 3 people that I watched this morning, and I don't know if they've done this tag or not, but here you go. My reading days, Natalie, Rene Pierre, and Russell at Ink and Paper Blog. So thanks for another great tag, Shawn, and thanks so much for watching, and everyone, all of you, and I will be back soon. Bye.